Shalom, shalom. This brother Kapaya Yas with a morning lesson. I'd like to start off by giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rikah Kodash, and double honor to the man of great millstone that is out there on the highway and byway, pushing this truth day in and day out, also pushing this truth over the worldwide internet, reaching for the elect to pull them out of a two-thirds state of mind so that we can be beamed up on those chairs of salvation to live in the kingdom under King David and the supreme King Yahweh Shah, which is the title of command, authority, and rulership over heaven and earth. Though title is given to Yahweh Shah by his father Yahweh. Also, I'm not a member of GMS, but I believe GMS has the 100% truth of the Bible. To the Akim and Aqua, which are the men and women that are listening, to continue to pray for more faith, repent, and fast, and keep the laws and commandments to the best of your ability. As it states in John 14:15, if you love me, keep my commandment. Also Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandment, for this is the whole duty of man. Okay, what you see here is, men and women in the military, which, that's a mistake that was going to intentionally happen. You put men and women together, or you keep the man away from his woman at home, and you bring other women, amongst these soldiers, these male soldiers. You got female soldiers, male soldiers. I mean, what you expect? A lot of those male soldiers, when they go overseas and get with these foreign women, it's going to happen. So why do these people, as they say, there's no more wisdom in teaming? Y'all don't think that U.S. soldiers are not going to get together? You got man and woman working together. It says here, U.S. soldier get discharged after reportedly getting several women pregnant while stationed in Iran. Yeah, you got war going on, but the sexual appetite of Jake and Eve and you have more than just Jake and Eve. Or you got, I wouldn't be surprised if it's white women he got pregnant, or or Hispanic, so-called, Hispanic, or whoever, Eve, whatever. Men and women, when they are together, they are going to mingle. They are going to get it in. And this is another example of why women shouldn't be in the military. Let's go to the scripture. This is going to be quick. What is it? Deuteronomy 22 and 5. The woman should not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, uniform. So it says, neither shall a man put on a woman a garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy power. See, and another thing that comes with that uniform, it comes with a special type of power, which a woman love to have. She envy that power that a man have, and that power, it is that authority, the power of authority. So the uniform come with an authority, and the Lord didn't. What is it? Salakia. He didn't give woman Salakia. I'm so sorry. Authority to rule over a man, right? Let's go here. First Timothy 2:12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to absorb authority over the man, but to be in silence. Right? So, you're going to have women telling, other men, if there was a fallout here in the States or whatever, and they got male and female troops, and you got female troops yelling at grown ass men, telling them what to do, that's backwards. But I guarantee you, if that female soldier get hurt and can't walk, she's not expecting uh, uh, some old regular female to pick her up and take her out of there. Now, don't get me wrong, if there's a female there to take her and drag her, yeah. But if a woman is seriously hurt and she want to get out of there with no problem, number one choice for a woman is a man. You're gonna want a man to come deliver you out of trouble a lot faster and quicker than you saying, well, I want a woman. And plus, what this man did, an Esau law, he went and got several women, pregnant and stuff like that. But, God's law, he's been fruitful and multiplying. But in this society, you got, seven women, pregnant. Your VA check or Army check or whatever you're going to receive is going to be garnished. So men, you got to be very, very careful of of how and who you lay your rod to. We are not in our rest that we can go do that. So and then he probably just a wicked nigga anyway. You know, that wasn't very smart of him to get down like that. You know, so let me go to read the comments right here. Said at True Pilgrim 144, Jay has been doing this forever. Sure, no, yeah, that's in that's in our blood. To deal with multiple women and have multiple children from other women. King Solomon, he had over 1,000 women. He had right at or almost right at 1,000 children. They don't talk about how many children he got, but I'm damn sure he got a whole lot from his wife and his second wife, lesser wives, I meant to say. Says here, Pat World 504. All right, people, dude just showing us the blueprint to getting out of the. You know what? And that's what he listen. Let me bag back. Let me bag up. Listen. That's what a lot of these women are doing. I remember sometime ago, probably. Let me calm down. Last year, sometime, a lot of women. It was a threat of going to war last year about something, and a lot of women were saying, "Well, I'm not going to war. I'm gonna get pregnant. I'm gonna get out of there." So this what this brother probably was doing, getting these women pregnant so they can get up out the army. I guarantee you that probably what was happening. I guarantee you, because a lot of these women, when they listen, go on TikTok and look at how some of those female soldiers are now reacting to. You have a lot of these female soldiers twerking and dancing and smiling and saying what they will do or whatever. But when shit hit the fan and it's real, and you see bodies, bodies getting on plane and coming back in a coffin, then that's when it's real. Then when you have to walk past that. And these women here, they they know how to get out of this situation by doing something, that they always want to, want Jake and a lot of other men, to pay for. But when they want to get out of a situation like this here, it's for free. Get me pregnant for free. And probably that's what Jake did. And Jake ain't gonna turn out no vajayjay, no quiver. He ain't gonna turn that down. You know, it just depends on the woman. But I'm sure they fit, they young, you know, and he just having a great old time over there. he he probably saying, well, if I don't make it, these 7 women, they're gonna leave, and my seed gonna continue going on. You know, like what a true pilgrim said. Jake had been doing this for a long time, forever, because that's what Jake did. When he going off the war, he made sure, he left some seed behind just in case he didn't make it home. Said, what's that? I see it. Let the truth be, let the truth be true. It said, smart man, he went to make life, not take life. It says here, clap your hands, bro. It's not your war. Clap your hand, bro. It's not your war. No, it's not our war. But you have, simple Jake. You have some Jake are proud. Proud to be an American. You know, and had one Jake. He's saying that if y'all hate America and all this and that, y'all get out. I'm gonna fight for this BITC, TCH. That's what he said. And you're gonna melt right along with your enemy out there in Western Asia. You know, Yahweh Shaphat. The Lord's judgment. That's where you're gonna, since you got so much pride, and obviously he don't know the history of a so-called black man going to fight for this country and then come back and still get treated like shit. Out there on the streets, homeless, not in his right mind. He got to fight every day, every month, just to get 100% on his. I forgot what they call it, but you have some people they get 20%, 50%, whatever. You know, all this chemical that they put in Jake and the Northern Kingdom, men and stuff like that, and come back all fucked up. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Says here, Mansure, I don't know. I'll just leave it like that. He just saved his own life and those women's lives. Was the discharge honorable? Discharge to get a discharge. Ha ha. Well, he got put out, and those 7 women. Hopefully, they can work something out. If he understood the truth, you know, like I said, and also, this is not. Let me go ahead just to, so that no other Jake won't go and do something, like this here. This is not our kingdom right now. We can't afford to, just throw around that seed like that and think it's all good. No, and you can't trust a lot of these women, because they are your enemy on this side. It said, Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. This is not your rest. And this woman, that you have, a lot of these women, they are like, they out of let me see, a lot of these women are not going to be on your side. You have some good ones out there, don't get me wrong, but most of them, I'm trying to think of that word. They are very, I can't even think of it right now. Fickle, very fickle. When things are good, they are good. When they get a little bit hard, then that's when, you know, they start to get, unease and angry and argumentative and, just like, Job's wife. Everything was good. I can teach you that Proverb 31, a woman. And when Job, was losing everything, and she saw that she was losing all that she wanted, that she liked, you know, was able to get the finest a garment, for herself or whatever, dress or whatever, she was wearing, and she saw, her husband, declining, you know, telling him to go ahead and curse the Lord so that he can die and curse the Lord and die so that she can go jump in another man's arm that's doing something, you know, and that's off. She supposed to be with you through thick and thin, but the women are not the way they were, and the men are not the way they were. Since the beginning, since biblical days, But like I said, these women have become your enemy. Then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is your power? So like, where is the Lord your power? You know. So, and just like in the truth, you have some women, they're listen, but deep inside, it's not 100 to them. They just doing it, because either they like you or you got something that they want. But when shit really hit the fan, then you're gonna see that some of these women, they just fickle, very fickle. So don't go around dropping off seed at every woman, especially, I'm gonna say this here, especially, um, if they, um, well, let me see, let me think about what I'm going to say. Because there are diseases. Now, you don't want to just spread your seed around and you in Houston like that, or you in Atlanta like that. you know no, you don't want to do that. So just be mindful. But and I know how Jay can get down. And you going away from your main woman, and then you got 5, 6, 7 women want you to get them pregnant so they can get out the army. Now, obviously, those women are checked, don't have no diseases or anything like that, but you got to look at the long run. You got to look at child support. You know, you got to look at that, because these women, like I said, they're gonna get tired of having to dig in their own pocket taking care of the child, and you the father, and they're gonna say, well, you got to come on with it now. And they volunteer, you know, to spread their leg, and they wanted you to do them a favor, and they probably say, well, I ain't gonna put you on child support. When a woman say that she ain't gonna put you on child support, you ought to be the stupidest nigga I ever seen in my entire life. Don't pay no shit. Don't pay that shit any attention. You know, if you're gonna hit it and pull out. I'd change my mind. I don't know. Hell no. I came out here. to fight for this country, damn it, you gonna do it too. You know, you came out here for a check. No, you ain't getting two checks. One from the army and from me too. No. Oh man, listen. Let me go ahead and just end this. It's already 20 minutes. Um, I was just being funny, But this guy here, hey, child support gonna eat you up, brother. Shalom, shalom.